Welcome into Bears Weekly, powered by IGS Energy, a Chicago Bears network production. Bears Weekly is brought to you by Advocate Healthcare, Athletico Physical Therapy, CDW, Connie's Pizza, IGS Energy, and Miller Lite. Here are your hosts, Jeff Joniak, a.k.a. the Mayor of Bearsville, and his sidekick, Tom the Surfmaster Thayer.
Well, a week after holding a 16-year veteran quarterback Matthew Stafford and the LA Rams down, the Bears will need to do the same against a 14-year veteran at quarterback and their former teammate Andy Dalton and the Carolina Panthers. Hi, everybody. It's the voice of the Bears, Jeff Joniak with Tom Thayer. Loaded with interviews tonight on Bears Weekly. Coming up, we've got Bears quarterback Caleb Williams in our sit-down for Sunday morning at 10:30 and our TV partner Fox 32 Chicago on Bears Game Day Live. Plus, the versatile offensive lineman Matt Pryor joins Tom and I. And then we visit with seven-time Pro Bowl linebacker, the now retired Luke Kuechly, a member of the Panthers radio broadcast crew. Our weekly dive into the Bears coordinators today at the podium. And we've got Kevin Zepak in our ESPN studios. Thanks to Dan Briley and Jordan Tredup from the Bears. And our executive producer of the Bears Radio Network is Eric Ostrowski. Good evening, Tom Thayer.
Big Jeff, it's kind of an interesting battle this week. You do have Andy Dalton, who's got a lot of experience at the quarterback position along with a lot of success. Last week, there was a lot of injuries on the Los Angeles Rams offense that the Bears defense were able to take advantage of and kind of overpower at the most important times. Now you're going to face a team that's got a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. So the offense has to take another major step forward in their improvements like they showed last week against the Rams. They need to show equal improvement against the Carolina Panthers.
Yep, and they've been improving every week. Caleb Williams, his numbers improving every week. The Bears injury report, something new every week. So Tevin Jenkins, of course, after 11 snaps leaving the game last week, limited today with those sore ribs. So he did not practice on Wednesday. Back on the field today. A new addition, Tom, Javon Dexter with a sore hip. DeAndre Carter still nursing some ribs. Montez Sweat, ankle, all limited. And Terrell Smith, Zach Pickens still not practicing. Overall thoughts?
That's part of the makeup now of the NFL. If there is anything that presents itself as any type of injury or setback, they're going to keep you out of practice and let you be as fresh as you possibly can on Sunday. So conversely, you look at the Carolina Panthers injury report, and it's I don't know, I didn't count the amount of people on there, but it's significantly more than the Bears. But then again, the Bears' development of their depth throughout this entire OTA and preseason, every one of these guys that will get a chance to get a couple extra reps, they should be chomping at the bit for their opportunity.
Let's dig into the coordinators. Let's start with Shane Waldron on his view of the Bears' offense that came to life with some balance in the passing game. The short passing game of Caleb Williams was on the money. And then the running game also cranked up. DeAndre Swift had himself a day.
Yeah, I think the combination of playing efficient in the run game, our guys really started to feel the run game, staying in phase, running backs, O-line, so we're getting positive plays in those. And then also the element of shot call doesn't always mean shot taken. If defense makes a good call on a play, Caleb did a really nice job of taking a check down to Swift, and then all of a sudden it goes now from a 1st and 10 to another 1st and 10 on a check down. We know explosives will happen within the context of the game, but playing efficient football, that's what's going to lead us to playing good complementary football, and that drive was a really primary example of that. Yeah, I think for him, Caleb's done a nice job of seeing what the defense presents and taking what the play gives him. Right, the week earlier had a chance to get Rome down the sideline in explosive play action, another one on the deep cross because it was the look that was there. The protection allowed it. And so I think moving forward, it's about not pressing to find big plays, not pressing to find explosives, letting them occur within the context of what the defense is showing each individual snap. I think defenses do a nice job, mixing and matching coverage contours and front structures, more than ever in the league. And so that balance of getting the ball out when it is a deep to short defensive structure, and maybe we had a shot called, just like referencing that drive, it keeps us on pace. And then when those shots are there, just keep doing a good job of being on, being in rhythm. Starts with protection, starts with everything that goes into that, not just the quarterback, receivers, running backs, tight ends, all connected into those plays and being efficient, which will lead to shots down the field.
Where do you think Caleb's made the greatest strides the last couple of weeks?
I think going back to that point, this past week, there was multiple chances here, especially on some of the second and longer situations where, took a nice completion to Rome on a shallow cross, where Rome's able to take a 5-yard completion and turn it into a 10-yard gain right there. Another one to Swift, another one to Keenan. So he had different chances there where, along with a couple checkdowns on some play actions, where he did a really good job of staying clean against, whatever defensive front structure was occurring on those plays, getting the ball out of his hand and letting those guys go to work right there. And so then it'll be the next step is, that balance of that versus, when's the time to go down the field with some of the throws.
And certainly we're looking for that, but I like what Caleb said on Monday, and we talked about Wednesday. I got to get my days right. But you and I talked about on our podcast on Tuesday about the idea of just, if things are cooking, let's get to the line of scrimmage and goose it and go. Let's just keep grinding, whether it's the run or the pass, keep the rhythm, and that's what Caleb wants.
Caleb wants it, but I think when you look at DeAndre Swift, up until last week, he was averaging 2.6 yards per touch. Last week, he had 7.2 yards per touch. Now that makes a point of an emphasis for the defensive coordinator of have awareness of what DeAndre Swift is able to do, and then it kind of opens opportunities for every other member of the Bears team that can touch the football. So if you do have what Caleb is seeing correctly, and then you have a player that has some explosive plays, I think you can create more explosive opportunities and then be willing to take that check down that he's talking about. That was an important check down that DeAndre Swift is able to get out of bounds, stop the clock, and get a first down.
What they have to do is absolutely eliminate the negative plays. And, whether it be a first down penalty, a first down sack, a negative run, a drop pass, any type of negative play that's going to stall a drive out, this is a culmination, obviously, of a lot of hard work, and you don't want to ruin your work that you put in the course of the week with just negative plays.
Negative plays will happen. I just don't want things like false start or lineup penalties, because they had one last week where they called a penalty on Darnell Wright for being the end man on the line of scrimmage, and that's not Darnell Wright. That's a receiver's obligation to be lined up correctly. And then they have a couple false starts. One thing you do as an offensive player is you become you repeat the snap count coming out of the huddle, and you repeat it to yourself as many times as you need it, so then you don't become susceptible to jumping, especially when you're at home. And one of the things that kind of has my radar up this week is Carolina adjusts their fronts at the line of scrimmage.
Like the Bears defense did during training camp, right?
Exactly. And if you get caught up in listening to their calls instead of just paying attention to Caleb, then you become susceptible to those kind of jumps. And then you've had a couple changes on the interior of the offensive line, and they're the closest point to that command center.
The good news is the Bears have offensively 12 first downs by penalties by the opposition.
Correct.
That's tied for first in the NFL with two other teams. All right, let's switch it over now to Eric Washington, the Bears defensive coordinator. Always comes out strong, Tom, at the podium. He's like a CEO, the state of the team, state of the Carolina Panthers from the big man. And it also includes running back Chuba Hubbard, the player the Bears got to tackle on Sunday.
The star of this offense, in my opinion, is the offensive line and the running back. The production, especially with the outside zone concepts, those things are fantastic. They do a great job of blocking movement concepts up front and protecting the quarterback. This is an experienced single caller, Andy Dalton. He's played in a lot of big games, been in a lot of situations that will lend itself toward him being able to be efficient as far as directing this offense. And obviously we had a chance to compete against the head coach as a signal caller, as a play caller, last year when we played Tampa Bay. Be a great challenge for us. We're looking forward to it. We've had a couple of really good days of preparation going into this afternoon, and we're looking forward to the challenge. The interior part of the defensive line has the most direct path to the quarterback. So we have to be forceful, demonstrative, and efficient in terms of setting the table for our edge rushers and pushing the pocket back into the face of the quarterback. If we can get that pocket pushed back, get the quarterback disrupted a little bit, that we have a chance to really activate our entire rush. He's a downhill player, tremendous contact balance. And so you see this young man breaking tackles, you see a lot of yards after contact. So it puts the onus on us to be very good with our tackling and our gap control. The other thing about this young man is that he will find the void in the run defense. And it could be as a cutback runner. It could be at the point of attack. If there's a void, he's going to find it. He's getting downhill right now. And as a result, they're big plays.
And he does get a lot of yards after contact. Chuba Hubbard is the individual we're talking about here in that final statement by Eric Washington. There's a word that's popping up. Flus is talking about, do you understand coverage contours or contours of coverage? Heard it from Shane Waldron this week. Heard it from Eric Washington just now. Heard it from Flus this week as well.
Well, is the contour of coverage the shape of coverage? Whether you're going man-to-man and how that travels downfield, or else you're in, whatever number you want to put to the coverage and how that contours towards the back of the field. And I think that has a lot to do with it, just talking about the concept of what the coverage is and do they show it enough for a quarterback to see it. And if you got a guy like Andy Dalton, he can sniff out any contour of coverage. If you got a guy like Caleb or Bryce Young, there's some of them they're seeing it for the first time in an NFL level. And so, coverage, however much pressure you believe you can put it on the passer, that's how they're going to design their coverage abilities.
All right, coming up next, Caleb Williams, our interview with him as we get ready to meet the Carolina Panthers at Soldier Field with Tom Thayer. I'm Jeff Joniak here on ESPN 1000 and the Bears Radio Network.
Welcome back to Bears Weekly on the Bears Radio Network. Here's your host, the voice of the Bears, Jeff Joniak.
By IGS Energy with Tom Thayer, Jeff Joniak. So, Tom, I know every now and again we're on the road, especially if you see a 57 jersey, and if it's not Olin Kreutz, you're hoping it's Tom Thayer or Jack Sanborn, right? Yeah.
Right.
So, but I think it's cool when you see your own uniform being worn by somebody else. But I know there are kids out there that are wearing those Caleb Williams jerseys. And I know of one, the kid just won't take it off. Wakes up with it, goes to sleep in it. So, and that's an entree into our interview that I sat down for our Bears player profile. You'll see it on Fox 32 Chicago on Bears Game Day Live at 10:30 Sunday morning. Be sure you join Lou Canellis, Tom, and myself. Here's that entree to that very question about that jersey and Caleb Williams.
Yeah, it's pretty cool for me. I've been working my whole life to be in this position, and loving it and things like that. And to have people and kids and things like that, getting my stuff, buying my jerseys or whatever the case may be and wearing them and, feeling proud and happy to be wearing them, it kind of makes you feel good inside.
Yeah, because you're not that far removed from being a kid.
No, I'm not. I'm only 22.
I mean, think about this. This whole thing kind of started at 4, but you went to your dad at 10 and say, I want to be a quarterback.
Yep.
That's 12 years ago.
Yeah.
That's not that
Crazy.
long.
Not long at all. Feels like it was yesterday that I lost that game and decided I wanted to be a quarterback. Feels like yesterday that those 5 a.m. workouts in the morning before school and things like that. So, it's pretty crazy to say it's been 12 years of being in this position and working and getting after it.
As a 22-year-old quarterback, forget about what you put in. It's like, okay, you're a rookie in the NFL, and these days now, they throw you in the deep end of the pool and expect you to swim.
Yep.
Does it feel that way sometimes?
In the beginning, I would say it felt like that. I was just out there trying to make sure that I, was showing the guys that, I'm here to work. I'm here to learn. I'm here to be a great teammate. I'm here to win games, and that was about it. But having to learn all the plays and all the motions and plays and protections and still learning right now in the process. But, it felt like that in the beginning for sure.
And then you add this to the component. In the real world, a 22-year-old, short of a startup business and a brilliant individual, is not going to be the CEO of a company out of the gate.
Yep.
But you're the CEO.
Yep.
How do you wear that? It seems so comfortable for you to do that in all aspects of your life.
Yeah, I would say that comes from probably first my parents, and then understanding the goals and dreams that I've set out for myself, and also understanding the example that I feel that I need to set, not only from myself, but the people around me, and not just talking about my teammates, but friends and families, and kids that look up to me, or kids that I may have trained with when I was younger, and they were training with me and things like that. So I think the example that I feel I need to set, and also understanding my dreams and aspirations, and then, like I said, my parents.
You clearly are a conversationalist. You like conversation. You've done so many interviews in your life already. Do you enjoy this? Do you enjoy this kind of thing?
Yeah, it's you get to build new relationships with the people that you're going to see for a while. Yeah. After games, I haven't learned everybody's name yet, but after games and stuff like that, it's going to be the same people after games and for post game stuff like that. So being able to build those relationships, I've learned at a young age from my dad in the business and line that he was in, the relationships are everything. And so, building new relationships, it helps a lot.
With that being said, I know we know all about the look at Rodgers and Brady and Matthew Stafford and Kobe and MJ. Have you sought out business leaders, people who run companies over the course of your time? Do you read books about business outside of sport?
I have. I've reached out to different people. I've had meetings with different people. Throughout my time, I don't think any of names that people would recognize, like a Kobe, but definitely have. It's a part of your life in a way, because you start getting older and you understand that regardless of how good you are, regardless of how long you play, that those relationships and things like that you build can help propel you for when football is over. And so understanding that and making sure that those relationships are set for me, those bonds and relationships, and business ideas and things like that can come to fruition. And so I think I've done pretty well with building relationships with all different types of people and companies and things like that. So definitely have.
So I got a kick out of calling your first NFL touchdown pass.
Yep.
And I got a kick out of the fact it was Rome Odunze that caught it. So you two guys are linked for perpetuity. But just seeing the youthful exuberance, it just reminded me, okay, playing in the park as a kid, and you're just excited, having fun with it. Reflect on that moment.
Yeah. So it felt really good, to be honest. Rome and it's funny, I was kind of hoping it would be Rome to be our first touchdown. We had a celebration and everything that we did that was planned out, and then I was kind of hoping it wasn't, so I could get the first touchdown ball. But I told him, if it's us, which I of course want it to be, he can have that ball. But it was like the expression I let out was like a finally it happened. So now it's now it's time to go. Now it's time to let it fly and get things going.
All right, so a lot more on Sunday, but that's just a snippet of where he's at, and he impresses me every time he does an interview, takes his opportunity to explain how he feels and how he's leading this football team, and the best is yet to come. Protecting the football, obviously, last week was huge, Tom. They've been in 4 one-score games, so it's been right there, each and every one. And in order to win one-score games, it's going to take some clutch play by the quarterback eventually. And there was a stat, and I don't have it updated, but last year it was a stat about one-score games because the Bears had been in several that they didn't finish, or the year before that they didn't finish. And it was like 69% of the teams, 20 of 21 teams that had won one-score games, 70% of the time went to the playoffs. So you win one-score games in this league, you're going to the playoffs. But anyway, I digress.
Well, you know what? I'm 63 years old, and I would wear a Caleb Williams jersey. I've never worn another jersey before in my life other than my own. But I admire him so much. Every time I listen to him speak at a podium or at a conference, he, increases my admiration for his maturity. And, when you talk about guys like Kobe and Michael Jordan and these guys that have had shoes in their own logo, he's on that trajectory. And he's the type of guy that you don't know where he's going to be in 10 years, but I hope he's able to achieve all the success he envisions for himself from this point moving forward, because then that means there's success for the Bears and it's fun for everybody.
Yeah, I just appreciate his investigative nature also, meeting with people. And I know, we both know Tim Grover, who's spoken to him. He met him out for a lunch or a breakfast just to get, hey, what about this guy MJ? What made him such a leader and such a clutch performer? So you do appreciate that about some of these guys that go beyond just their own coaches and their own circle, to just continue to learn what it's going to take to be great and to be different.
Gosh, you'd be naive not to take advantage of your opportunities in life when you have a chance to meet popular, successful people outside the sport you play, because all they can do is educate you.
Yeah.
I had a cough.
Okay, let's take a break. Take a break right there, though. We got to hit a break anyway. Okay. That's Tom Thayer. I'm Jeff Joniak. Coming up next, our conversation with Matt Pryor, the Bears offensive lineman. Mr. Versatility, I guess we can call him here on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network.
This is ESPN Chicago, WNVP, WTBC, HD2 Chicago, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
This is Bears Weekly, with the voice of the Bears for 24 years, Jeff Joniak, on the Bears Radio Network.
ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network, getting ready for the Carolina Panthers, and our special guest this week is Big Matt Pryor. I say big because I'm in my little booth up at Hallis Hall. Tom knows it. Tom's on Zoom, but talk about filling up a doorway. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, all 6'7" of you, right? All 6'7" of you. I don't know what you're weighing these days, but I'm 5'7.5" on a good day. Yeah, you'd have fun with me blocking me, right?
Yeah, it'd probably
get low.
A nice little game.
Yeah. So tell me how it's going here. I hear great things about you. I just finished up talking with Coach Flus. I go, hey, I haven't met Matt Pryor yet. Oh, you're going to love him. He's a wonderful young man. So obviously you have connections with him. Ian Cunningham from Philadelphia. Does it feel a little bit like home now?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I knew off the rip when I got here, came down for a visit, and then, obviously to sign, it's been nothing but love. So, it's a great city, great organization, and a great team. I feel like I've been only a part of a couple teams where it's kind of that college feel. Everybody's kind of close-knit. Everybody hangs out. It's not like just, you hang out with your own position group. So, it's a great feeling.
Wait, what teams are those?
I'd say the Niners, and then Philly, obviously, is where I felt the most, type of bond. Obviously with the O-line and D-line and Indy was like that too. But I think here in probably last year with the Niners was probably a lot.
Winning helps. You went to the Super Bowl.
100%, yeah.
Hey, Matt, you've gone from the Southwest to the West Coast to the East Coast to the Midwest. Always going to be a West Coast guy, or have you transformed into any of those areas, and do you like them better?
I'm actually in the South, man. So home is Texas. I went to TCU, for those who don't know. Right. Obviously, I love the West Coast, but those prices ain't helping me want to stay out there. But yeah, relocated to the South. Love being out in Texas. Love having the open land and everything. Getting a couple acres, so can't complain about that. Obviously, you got the heat, but I'm kind of up north by Oklahoma, so when the storms roll by, we gotta brace for that. So.
We have some football things in common. So I came in and I was a backup waiting for my opportunity. I was a backup center and I was a backup guard, and all of a sudden a guard got hurt and I went in for the next 8 years. And so your approach as a player, when you're waiting in the wings or you're starting, that you're starting on that day, do you have the same mental approach, or is it different for you? Because I was super impatient when I knew I wasn't starting. But then I kind of had some relief and a little bit of anxiety when I was starting.
Obviously everybody's goal is to play when they get to the league. And your opportunity to do that is either short or slim, just because you don't know what longevity. And the league's full with, really good players. So you never know when that opportunity is going to show up. But, being out there, being able to start again, it's a great feeling. Just being on the field and using my talents to help, win games for the team and the city. But, yeah, I do think – I feel like there's more anxiety for me mainly because I play across the whole line and not knowing who is going to get hurt is kind of – so when I'm just at one position, I kind of feel a little more relaxed, opposed to, okay, now I got to wait for, is the left tackle going down? Is the left guard is right? I mean, there's game stress just because it's a tough game. You can't no matter who your opponent is, you can't expect anything less than their best. Anything can happen. You're never going to have a perfect game. So there's always that stress factor and anxiety of, knowing, okay, what rep is going to be the rep where you kind of mess up on or whatnot. So it's really that mental aspect of being able to move past that. But, as the game goes on, you kind of just go into autopilot.
Well, you've been that way your whole career because of TCU also.
Yeah,
they're moving you all over the place.
Yeah, well, initially I came in as a tackle.
Yeah.
And then my second year, we're short on guards, and my O-line coach comes up to me and says, "Hey, we're going to need you to play guard." So I was like, "Whatever." So that's kind of how that happened. And then towards my senior year, when coaching changed, they allowed me to go back out to tackle. So when I got drafted, I kind of had a feeling like, okay, I'm just going to play wherever I'm needed.
Did you ever snap?
Stout would have a snap. Just
Jeff Stoutland, in Philly. Oh boy.
Yeah, so
were you good? Any good at it?
I'm left-handed, so a lot of quarterbacks don't like that, man. Yeah.
So back in my era, whether you're right-handed or left-handed, no matter what, if you played the right-hand or right side or left side, you were in the stance that you were most comfortable in.
Yeah.
So you could play left guard and be in a right-handed stance. And so I didn't know you were left-handed, but I saw you switch and you converted to a left-handed stance immediately. Right side, left side, guard or tackle. Do you have a preference, or are you so uniquely talented wherever you need to play, it's your best opportunity at that time?
I played right majority of my career, so obviously there's a comfort aspect into that. But with cross training and whatnot throughout my career, I've kind of gotten a little more comfortable with being able to switch sides. I've never thought about going in a right-handed stance, though, on the left side. I don't know how that would work going on a pass set against a three-tech. That might be a little complicated.
Right.
Right. Matt Pryor, our guest here on ESPN 1000 on the Bears Radio Network, getting ready for the Carolina Panthers. Notice from the Combine, because people always tell me that, longer-armed guys have a hard time at the weight bench, during that. But you put up 23 reps. That's pretty significant. Are you good in the weight room, or – is that length of arms? How long are those arms? Do you know what they're listed at? Let's see. 35 and a half I have. 35 and a half. And 11 and a half hands, Big Tom. He's a mauler is what you are.
Yeah, I felt like that 23 could have been more. I kind of got caught up in counting in my head and kind of threw off my pace, so I kind of messed my focus up. I think it would have been around 29 if I locked in a little more. But, weight room I try to stay consistent in. It's kind of hard with the long days, obviously intense season, but it's important to try to stay consistent.
Were you a hooper?
No.
Never a hooper.
I'll tell you this. Okay.
Holy smokes, Matt Pryor. Again, let me remind you, I'm 5'7" and a half, and I just wished I had just 3 more inches. Maybe I could have played, right?
I'll tell you this, okay? I went to tryout 8th grade. Went to tryouts, did all the drills and whatnot. And we started running suicides, and that's where they lost me. So we lined up and ran about 2 or 3 suicides. I asked the coach, "Hey, can I get some water?" And I walked home.
Oh my gosh,
yeah, man,
that's funny.
Yeah, it's a different kind of cardio. But I played a little rugby in high school just to keep up with conditioning in the off season. But outside of that, no.
So, Matt, Hall of Fame game, Hard Knocks, and a European trip. Is this the first time for all of those, or have you had experiences with any of those?
All in one season, yeah. But when I was in Indy with Flutes, we did Hard Knocks for the season, I believe. I traveled to London my rookie year. In Philly, and we played Jaguars. So, yeah, it's not my first trip out there, but it is the first time going a little early. We normally travel on a Thursday, opposed to a Monday. So it'd be nice to, get out there a little early and, let the body adjust to the time difference and, traveling.
How is the huddle been? Caleb, you have a rookie quarterback and you have a lot of new moving parts. You're going from right side to left side, from guard to tackle. How is the communication inside the huddle, whether you're at on the road at a place like Houston or at home like last week, is the communication developing in the huddle? Because again, it's a new offense and everything for you.
Yeah, man. Caleb does a great job. I would say, obviously during the week you got your little nicks in there, but when it comes to the game time, he's real on making sure the play calls are correct and getting out there and just playing with confidence. He even for a rookie, he does a great job. So it's great having him out there. It's great seeing him develop, and hopefully we can continue to just thrive off of last week's victory and continue to improve.
Have you ever got a call from the WWE? Because, when Jeff sits there and talks about your size and how big of a man you are, what a good athlete you are, and how versatile you are, I'm just saying, man, a guy like you, since, Steve McMichael went in and had a great career.
I wouldn't be against it, but I haven't gotten any calls. I remember running to Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair. They were doing a Q&A down in Jersey. Me and my buddy went down there, and we got to go backstage. And first thing I see when I get backstage is Ric Flair down in a three-point stance. So, man, it was a great experience. But man, no calls on wrestling. I did grow up watching it a little bit, but that it would be interesting to
I met both of those guys, and you had to dwarf them. They had to look at you, going, "Oh my God, I hope he doesn't get into this."
Yeah, man. My buddy took a picture with Hogan, and he wasn't even focused on taking a picture. He was just staring me down. So,
so you didn't start really playing football until your high school year.
Yeah.
And at one point, 390?
Yeah, man.
How did you get down?
Obviously didn't play anything. I tried. Yeah. My mom tried to sign me up for Pop Warner, but in California, or the area I was in, it was real strict on the weight limits. Yeah. And obviously now it's changed. If you're bigger, you kind of play with the age group above you or whatnot. So once that happened, I kind of didn't do much, and then I got to high school, and that's where the weight just kind of started to drop. So
yeah, and I understand boxing. You're big, and you were a bouncer. And I don't want to mess with you at the club,
yeah, man. Anything for some extra money, man. That was a cool little side job.
You'd be the perfect bouncer, but you may be too nice.
No. You kind of got to change the whole demeanor in that situation. They put me in the worst area, too, so there's always something going on.
Well, we hope to catch up with you again. Time doesn't permit, but Flus is right. You're a good conversation. Appreciate you. Good luck moving forward here, and bring some of that Super Bowl karma to the Bears here, right?
Yeah, man.
That had to be a good experience for you.
It was great.
You know what it like now on the inside out, what it takes, right?
Yeah. And I think we got it. We got what it takes. We just got to keep continuing to strive forward and, put it on the field.
All right, one more segment to go. We'll preview the Bears and Panthers with Tom. I'm Jeff here on ESPN 1000 and the Bears Radio Network.
Welcome back to Bears Weekly on the Bears Radio Network. Here's your host, the voice of the Bears, Jeff Joniak.
This segment of Bears Weekly is brought to you by Athletico Physical Therapy. Visit athletico.com to request an in-clinic or virtual appointment and start feeling better tomorrow. And by CDW, people who get it, Jeff and Tom. As we look at the Bears and Panthers now from a Panthers perspective, Tom and I had a chance to visit with Luke Kuechly, the former Carolina Panther linebacker, who had a lot of great things to say. We had him on our Bears Etc. podcast, if you want to check that out on wherever you get your podcasts. So we had a good time with Luke, just 33 years old. And you reminded me, Tom, you retired at 33 as well.
Yeah, but for those of you who don't know who Luke Kuechly is, go out and search him, because you're more likely to look at him walking down Wall Street in a three-piece suit, carrying a briefcase, going to some financial job. But he's one of the best linebackers in NFL history that looks nothing like the part. And I was really excited that we had a chance to talk to him.
And here we go at that sit-down with Luke.
Did you ever feel undersized? And number two, did you ever beat Notre Dame when you were at Boston College? Because that's where I went to school.
Yeah, of course. You already know the answer to your second question. That's why you asked it.
Well, I thought you
answer,
didn't.
Yeah, we never beat him. We played my freshman year. We played him at Notre Dame. Took him down to the wire. Couldn't get it. Second year, we played him at home. They beat the brakes off us. Dane Chris and that offense was really good. And then my third year, we played back in South Bend, and we played tough the first half or so, and they kind of got away from us in the second half. We still had a chance to win at the end, but I think they ran the clock out on us. So that was one team that I always wanted to beat, being from Cincinnati, because in Cincinnati, you're a Bearcats fan, you're a Notre Dame fan, or you're an Ohio State fan. And, I didn't really get recruited by Notre Dame or Ohio State, so I always wanted to beat them. But back to your first question, feeling undersized. Trent Williams, my rookie year, I was like, I've never seen anybody that big, that fast, that explosive, that could bend, length. I mean, I don't know how long he's been in the league, 15 years. He is gigantic. And I was like, this is a little bit different than playing college football.
Ryan Poles, Boston College grad as well.
Yes. Oh, yeah, there you go.
So you started there in 2009. He left in 2008. He undrafted with the Bears. Did you on your visit, did you happen to visit with the offensive lineman? Did you have any interaction with Ryan Poles?
I think I met him briefly. When you're young like that and you go to a college and you're just trying to stay above the water. And my approach is probably the wrong approach. I was like, just be quiet, stay in your lane, be very nice to everybody. And I got a little bit overwhelmed on those visits. So I'm sure I've met him. He's done a fantastic job in Chicago, but all my buddies talked about Poles when I was at BC, especially the older guys.
Got to get your your professional opinion on the change at quarterback in Carolina, because the Bears were in a unique position and they had a lot to do with that pick. So what are your feelings about what the Panthers, the changes they made?
And you look at our team and you look what Bryce has been through the last 2 years, multiple coaches, different people calling offensive plays. Offensive line last year wasn't very good. We didn't have a ton of skill last year on the offensive side of the ball. Let's fast forward to this year. I think the best thing for him is to do exactly as what happened. You bring Andy in after week 2, tough start to the year with Bryce. And then Andy comes in and plays and has done a really good job. He's energized the offense. And I think for Bryce, this is just a really good opportunity. Just take a breath, man. Like, take a breath, get used to what we're doing. And I think you put these young guys in at quarterback, sometimes it's got to be a good situation. If it's not a good situation, just give them a little time to breathe. You look at what New England's doing with Drake May. I mean, you'd love to put him in the game, but until they get enough pieces around him, I don't think they feel comfortable doing it. So I think Bryce has a bright future in front of him, but Andy's done a great job the last 2 weeks of running the offense, getting the ball out, giving ourselves a chance to win, throwing good balls. He's a winner. You guys obviously had him in Chicago, and he's done a fantastic job for us. He's started 3 games, obviously 2 this year, 1 last year, and he's played fantastic.
Will scheme success by Andy Dalton give a little bit more leeway to the coaching staff and kind of allow you guys to prove you have the right guy in place? It's just about experience in the system.
Well, absolutely, and it allows you to evaluate the rest of the pieces on the offensive side of the ball. If you can evaluate the offensive line, the running backs, the receivers, the balls coming out. Guys are getting opportunities to go after balls now, and I think it gives us an opportunity to evaluate what we have in the coaching staff. The first couple of weeks, it's like, how are we doing? And then these last 2 weeks, now you get to see the Dave Canales offense and what we're capable of. And I think there was a lot of positive momentum when we brought him in. And in the offseason, there's a lot of chatter of, hey, we really like Dave Canales. He's a good dude. He's got great energy. He's smart. He knows what he's doing. And then now these last 2 weeks on the offensive side of the ball, it's like, hey, he's exactly what we need and what we want. And so I think for our team, this has been a really good move, not only for the offense, but to evaluate. And, Dave Canales has been fantastic.
Ejiro Evero, is he pulling his hair out right now? Because through no fault of his own, he loses an outstanding defensive lineman in Derek Brown. Now linebackers, Shaq Thompson out for the year with an Achilles. Looks like Josie Jewell's going to be out. Can they weather that storm defensively?
It's going to be a battle, right? Derek Brown out, Josie Jewell out, Shaq Thompson out, Jordan Fuller starting safety out. So 4 huge pieces, 2 big free agents we brought in, and 2 guys that have been in our team for a long time that we're relying on are out. So yeah, I'm sure Jero is like, daggone, I got to figure this out. But now you get a look at some of the young guys. We drafted a guy, Trevin Wallace, this year out of Kentucky that the staff really liked. I know Dan Morgan really liked him as well. So now you get a chance to see what you have in these guys. And Ajero's a fantastic coach, and I'm sure he'd love to have these guys healthy, but that's not the case in the NFL. You got to deal with what you have, and he'll get them going. And it's good that he's got a full week to figure it out versus last week when Shaq and Josie go down. Now your game plan changes a little bit, so it's hard to make those adjustments mid-game. But this week he's got a full week to understand, all right, this is our plan at linebacker. This is what we're going to do. So I think he's a fantastic coach. I'm sure he's like, man, this isn't – I wish I had my guys, but that's not how it goes.
Luke Kuechly, former Panthers linebacker and part of their radio network. Tom, you see really good opportunities against this Carolina defense for the Bears to exploit. They do play a lot of zone, so there's going to be opportunities to find some open receivers.
Really do, Jeff. But as we're listening to that interview, I was thinking a lot about the 85 Bears, because at the beginning of the season, they had some challenges where the opponent was playing really well against the Bears, and then the defense started to develop the reputation that they earned throughout the rest of the season, and then the offense continued the process of getting better and getting more profitable and sustaining success. And I think that's kind of where the Bears are at when you look at this opponent. So there's injuries on the defensive side of the ball for Carolina, so the offense has to continue that improvement process with a young quarterback. But the defense has to continue the domination that it started last year, and it has an opportunity to continue. And it seems like this is a major step going forward and about, developing that reputation. You're a good team, and then going to London and beating what you consider a home team, but you got to be the better team.
Andy Dalton, 60 points in 2 games. Bryce Young at quarterback, 61 total points in his last 7 starts. So something to keep an eye on. This is Bears Weekly here on ESPN and the Bears Radio Network, and we're brought to you by IGS Energy. Back for our final thoughts after this break.
Welcome back to Bears Weekly on the Bears Radio Network. Here's your host, the voice of the Bears, Jeff Joniak.
Calling all Bears fans. Want unforgettable access to see the Bears play at Soldier Field this season? Well, VIP official ticket packages now available for every home game. Unlock access to exclusive ticket packages that may include entry to in-stadium hospitality lounges, pregame sideline credentials, and the Chicago City Pass. Visit ChicagoBearsVIP.com or call 866-202-5755 for more info. Again, ChicagoBearsVIP.com or call 866-202-5755. Don't miss this exclusive opportunity with Chicago Bears VIP. Jeff and Tom in our final moments. Got to check in with Coach Hightower, the Bears special teams coordinator. Tom, deservedly so, the blonde bomber.
Yes.
NFC special teams player of the week. Let's listen in.
He doesn't care anything about stats. All he cares about is helping his team and being there for the team. So I was really excited to see him be a weapon in such a huge way to help the football team right there. And the punt team in general is really doing a really nice job for him, allowing him to be comfortable. All those guys on that unit, starting with Scott, obviously, Daly doing a great job, along with Hardy, Sanborn, Amon, Noah Sewell, Khalil Herbert, and then obviously Hicks. And then the Gunners, Torrey would not want me to send a congratulations to him without mentioning guys like Josh Blackwell and Jalen Jones and all the guys that are out there doing a lot to help him get that award. So I just want to say thanks to all those guys as well, because they're busting their tail, and Coach Polk's doing a great job with those Gunners outside.
Yep, and the Gunners, and you mentioned Blackwell. Blackwell, just a super fast guy. He's really becoming a necessity. You can't lose that guy. He's outstanding on there. So is Jalen Jones. And Torrey Taylor, keep it going. And Tom, later on today at the podium, he talked about Taylor was not happy with his performance against the Colts, and so he worked extremely hard over the course of the week prior to the kickoff against the Rams to get better. And so that he didn't want to let anybody down.
Earlier in the week, we had a chance to talk to Tremaine Edmonds, and we talked about what incentive the great punting is for a good defense, because they know if they back up the opponent into a area where they can really attack and then create great field position for the offense, it's like a triple whammy. A great punt, you put out a great defense, they stop their offense, they punt, they create great field position for your offense. And I think it's kind of some of the unknown and the untalked about elements of why your team is successful.
All right, Tom, you ready for this now?
Tell me.
Kickoffs.
Yeah.
So the Panthers will kick you the ball.
Good.
And they will return the ball. So they lead the NFL in kick return yards at 368. So the Bears got to be ready for that. And they've given up the fourth most kick return yards at 237. So it's in play, and that'll make you happy. It should be, right? Don't throw your hands in the air.
What did I tell you last week?
I know.
You give the Bears the offense the ball at the 30-yard line. I'm okay with it.
All right. Well, let's hope we get some nice returns, and we'll get you off the ledge. I want the kick return to stay in the National Football League. That's going to wrap us up. We'll talk to you at noon on Sunday from Soldier Field. Thanks to all our producers, including Kevin Zepak, and all our guests, including Caleb Williams and also Big Matt Pryor. Thanks, Dan Brilli and Jordan Treadup as well. For Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. Thanks for listening, everybody, on your new radio home of the Chicago Bears, ESPN Chicago. National League Baseball playoffs coming up next.
Thank you for listening to the Chicago Bears Network presentation of Bears Weekly, hosted by the mayor of Bearsville, Jeff Joniak, and Surfmaster Tom Thayer. Podcasts are available on the Chicago Bears official app, brought to you by Verizon and Apple Podcasts. Bears Weekly has been brought to you by Miller Lite.